Welcome to Embroidery Medic, the clinic for unhealthy embroidery designs. This is where digitizers and embroiderers send in their problem files and I put them under the microscope to diagnose what went wrong and show exactly how to fix it. With over 42 years in the industry and being trained by Shifley Masters, I've gained the experience and technical foundation to revive even the most troubled designs. Our free 101 series walks you step by step through the core principles every embroiderer and digitizer should know. It's completely free and it's the best place to build real confidence. So the first question is, what information do I need to properly diagnose and assess a design? And the answer is pretty much anything you have that you can send over to me. And Geranda, one of our inner circle members, was digitizing a design. She was sent a photograph from the customer of something that was done before. She was sent the artwork from the customer. And then she also sent me the native file format, which is a JDX file. She's one of our inner circle members, uses our software. And if I can see how somebody created the design in the native format, then that really is helpful because I can see all of the settings, the density, the underlay, the pull comp, if things have inset values, all of that information is right there for me to assess, and I can very quickly diagnose a problem. Now, the original artwork that was sent was this piece of artwork right here. Now, right away, I see some discrepancies because the original file that I see here and the artwork that has been provided are very different as far as the width of the tail and the placement and the size of the lettering. This lettering here is really not embroidery friendly. The person who did this originally, they obviously knew what they were doing. They had the right idea in taking the artwork from the customer, modifying it, adjusting the lettering to make it work within the minimums of stitches. And, hats off, that's the way it should be done. But I'm not going to redigitize this design and get the artwork redrawn and all that kind of stuff and try to make it better. I'm going to work with the artwork that I have, and I'm going to first take a look at the stitch file that Geranda did in trying to replicate this design. And I'll see, if I can find some issues as far as runnability is concerned and how the design would probably sew out. And then I am going to redigitize this design based on the artwork. I'm not going to modify the artwork. I'm going to work right from that. But I'm going to redigitize this to see how I would, layer the design, how many colors I would do. I'm going to look through this and kind of give an example of it. If I was given this artwork and if I were asked to digitize this for a customer, how would I go about it? And then we'll compare it to the, design that Geranda did, and we'll see where there could be some potential issues. So just looking at this design, I can see that as far as the one that the person had done before, I'm not overly happy with the crown. I can see that there's issues there. It doesn't really look clean. I have all of these borders going around here, and I can see, a little bit of movement. It's not easy to do this because the black's obviously going to go down first, and I can see that the pink showing up here doesn't look quite as clean. It looks thinner in the bottom, and it looks a little wider in the top. And then you have some areas here where I can just tell that if you were sewing this based on how they tried to carve out these holes, I probably wouldn't do it that way. I see a tiny little bit of black in here and black in here and black inside of the O and a little bit of black there. Trying to carve holes in objects like that, especially on this type of material, is going to create very stitch intensive embroidery, and you might actually feel braille on the back of it. It's not going to be nice and smooth. And when I digitize a design, especially something like this, I'm just as concerned about the look and the feel of the top of the design, but I'm equally as concerned about how the design looks and feels on the backside. You're wearing a jersey or a garment. You do not want to feel bird's nests and braille on the back of a garment because of the amount of stitches that are hammered in there. I should mention that this design is meant to be 4 inches wide. And if you're doing a 4-inch wide embroidery with this amount of border and details and very thin lines, because the reality is this design, if I go to a 1-to-1 scale, if you look at how the size, this is the actual size of the design that you're seeing on screen at 1-to-1. That is pretty tiny. And when I digitize my designs, If you've followed any of my education before, you know I have a lot of set rules with theory that I teach when I train people how to digitize, and one of them is to digitize at a set scale. My set scale, my go-to is 6:1, which I have built right into my software, and this is essentially what I'm looking at when I see a design, and this is essentially what I look at if I'm trying to assess a design. But this would pretty much be a redo. It would take me longer to try and edit this file than it would to redigitize it from scratch. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the actual file that was supplied, and this is the one that they digitized based off the original artwork. As I mentioned, I can tell right away that this font here is all one piece. There really is no turning of satin stitches, whereas this one here, it looks like, just by seeing that, I can tell it's a keyboard font. So, which might have been a good thing, to be honest, because the font that was part of the artwork was really too small. So this one actually probably is going to sew halfway decently. This one here is going to just sew in one direction. So this could have been broken apart and digitized, I guess, properly, so to speak. But even something like this, like these tiny little objects here and the overlapping, that's probably not enough. Now, what I'm going to do really quick is I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to grab both of those colors. So I'm going to grab this color right over here, and I'm going to grab this color here. I'll grab the entire thing, and let's just change this to a green color, just so that we can see it a little bit better on screen, especially as I do a redraw. But just looking at this, I can tell right away that it has a ton of issues. Number one, the sequencing. The first color is black, and black is fine. I would do that. But if I highlight it and I look at the object, I can right away tell that there's really no push or pull compensation. The direction of the stitch, this should be over exaggerated well into, at least, well past the first border, which is the green, into the pink, but it should cut short on the open ends, and there's no digitizing of push and pull within that fill. So that's the first thing that I see. Second is they did the white next. So all of this white color around the outside is next. When I digitize this, which I am going to redo this design based on the artwork, I would definitely digitize the white as the primary border, not the secondary, because doing it first and then doing the pink around the outside makes the pink the primary, and I really want the white to be the primary focus point of defining those actual letters. So that is the other thing that I'd be looking at. And then they did the white again at the end, which I'll probably have this only as 4 colors. The pink itself is there, and it is going to be, I guess, probably my last color, because the gold I'm probably going to do second. I'm going to do the black and then the gold, and then I'll do the pink, and then I'll do the white. They have black, white, pink, gold, and then white again. The way this is created, it's going to be really hard to get any detail within that crown, so I'm going to change that up as well. And if I'm looking at all of these objects, and if I start looking at all of the pieces of this, I can see that the density on this, and let's just grab one of these here. So I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to grab this piece right here. I'm going to go to the properties, and I can see right away that this is a stitch width of 0.5 millimeters. So they used a steel, which is a fixed width satin. 0.5 millimeters is really, really tiny. It looks like the pink is the same. And actually, I might have to choose just one of them because it's not giving me that. So yeah, 0.5, it's the same on there. If I go down and look at the density on these, the density on these is 0.4 millimeters. There's a contour underlay for that. There's probably a contour underlay for this object as well. If I go into here and look at that one piece and go to the underlay, it's a contour. There should probably only be a center run on there, especially for something that's that small. So there's just a whole bunch of things that I would be changing within this. And the biggest thing is all of these borders upon borders. I mean, let's just go out of here. I'm going to go out of this. Let's turn off the 3D just so we have this entire thing up on screen here. Bring it over just a little bit, and I'm going to do a slow redraw, and we'll just redraw through this design and kind of show you how it's going to sew out. And I'll kind of, give you a play-by-play. But here, if I look at this, and if I'm going to speed it up to 6 times, we have a fill with a, underlay. That's fine. There's no push or pull compensation within that fill, as I mentioned, which I would put in there. There is a edge run underlay, but it's showing up as a single run because it's so small. There's all of those borders going around the inside there. Then there's this border going around the outside. There's no underlapping of any of this. The fill is going down, and it looks like I have a fill here for this as well. But one of the biggest things is this separation. There's really no underlapping of these colors, even though I wouldn't do this object first. If I selected this one and I wanted to, really make this kind of work so that I would, not have a gap in between these objects. You can see that gap there. What I would probably do, at least, is take this and I would make this, instead of 0.5 millimeters, let's try 1. I'm going to make this much larger, so that's going to make it wider right there. But then I'm going to take this inset value, and I'd probably bring this inset value in considerably, so it's going to at least underlap into that object so that it won't have gapping between the two. I mean, that's just the beginning of some of the stuff that I might do. I'm guessing when we do the comparison, because I am going to run this design as is, and then I'm going to run the one that I redigitized, I'm guessing that this is going to be the biggest problem area right here within all of these little pieces, having 1, 2, 3, 4 different, satin stitches and a base stitch under there. That is just going to, tear into the fabric and create, reverse bird's nest. It's going to probably be like a piece of braille underneath. And then here, having this object right here have nothing that's going in there. I don't see any pink in there. That's going to be an issue. So I wouldn't want to try to edit this file, because it would take me longer to try and fix the file than it would to redigitize it. It might take me an hour and 15 minutes to redigitize this. I could probably spend half a day trying to fix the file from the way it stands now. So let's just get rid of this one. I'm going to go in and digitize this, and then as soon as I'm done, I'll bring up my file, explain to you some of the changes that I made, and then we'll run a comparison to see the difference between the two. Okay, well, I finished the file, and this is probably going to defy logic, and this is where I always say, if you see something on screen and it looks perfect to the artwork, odds are it's not going to sew out very well, and this one is definitely going to be true to that. Keep in mind this design is, 4 inches wide, and I would definitely, want to make this design bigger if I could. I would definitely have changed and modified, especially the small lettering here. But I did try to digitize it as it was. And if you look at this without the 3D on, you can see how much I kind of have over exaggerated all of the objects from the artwork. And that was all kind of done manually. I just, used my experience to try to modify this and make it work. So I'm going to get rid of that original artwork there, just get rid of the backdrop so we can see the design on here. I'm going to go back to 3D, and you can see that I really did reduce. I only have, like a 2 colors here. I have a pink that's going down all in one stitch, and then one border going around the outside for all these objects. My pink is definitely done third. As I said, I did the black first, then I did the crown second, so that it was true to the artwork. Then I did the pink, which is manually digitized using a classic satin as opposed to a fixed width satin or steel stitch. And I made sure that there was an edge run for that one because it got wider. I made sure there's a center run for the white because it's thinner. I actually even changed the density. So the density of this object here is 0.4. And if you look at the density on the whites, I actually did a density on the white stitch so that I have a satin path that is 0.5. So I decreased the density slightly on those just because knowing that when you start building stitches on top of stitches, you're going to have all kinds of, density building up on each other. And I want to make sure that this design is going to be a little bit friendlier. I'll give you an idea. The original file, which is here, this one is actually, I think 15,000 stitches in total. And let's just hit the escape here so I can get the stitch count. But this one has, let's see here, let's click off of that. So there is, and let's make sure that I come here, and I'm going to make sure that I have none of these selected. so that I get the full stitch count. And this one is right here, 15,775 stitches in that design. And when I did it, I got it down to, I believe, 14,235 stitches. So not a huge amount, but in a design this size, to have that much of a reduction of stitches is going to be considerable. Now, I also went in right from the very beginning when I go into how this is actually going to play out. And I'm going to come in here and change this color to a green color just so we can see it stitch out the same way we saw the other one stitch out as well. I'm going to turn off the 3D. I'm going to do a redraw. And you're going to see right at the beginning, I did some underlay that had some zigzags in it so that when things separated, it would actually not show the fabric underneath. Then I have that border going around the outside that is manually punched to be wider. And then I'm going to have that green going around that is going to define all of the objects. So when this is actually done, it's going to give me a much, much cleaner look on the design, And even though these objects here look very, very close, and you can barely see the black show through here, I know from experience that I should get a black line on there, and it is going to look much cleaner than trying to do it at a 0.5 millimeter stitch width, because 0.5 for a steel or a satin stitch is just way too small. So I tried to work with the best that I could on this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run a sample of both of them, and then we'll compare the results. But this, even though it doesn't look necessarily like the original artwork, I had to modify knowing the change of, stitch directions and how things were going to sink into the fabric and how we were going to get good registration all the way around. And the original piece of, I guess, photograph that was sent in that the customer gave to the digitizer, you saw that this area here with the crown looked pretty unclean, and there was differences in the width of the borders as it went around the design because of all of the pulling as it went through. So I'm hoping to rectify that as well. And we'll take a look at it because, as I always say, the proof is in the stitching. That's the only way we're going to be able to tell the difference between these designs is when they actually sew out. Well, I set up a comparison file where I included the original JDX file that was provided to me. I also included my file that I digitized based on the artwork that I was given. And then I did a little quick edit, made it a 1/2 inch larger, and wanted to see for my own amusement if that 1/2 inch of extra space was going to give me any better results, because the artwork and the amount of borders and detail that was in there for something at 4 inches, especially that small text, was just kind of hitting that really gray area that I was not going to get the quality that I was looking for. So for my own amusement, I wanted to see if it would sew better. So here is the sew out of the 3 designs, and they're all legible. I can definitely see what's going on in each of them. But the original one, I can tell just by looking at it, there is a lot of density going on there. You can see that it is moving a little bit on the front, but more importantly, the back, you can definitely see that these areas are just really raised. They feel like braille. When the machine was sewing, I actually could hear it beating like a drum, and I was wondering if I was going to break a needle or break threads, but anyways, it was pretty touch and go. The design that I digitized, even the 4 inch, it came out fine. Just as important as the quality on the front, I want to feel and see the quality on the back. So given the amount of detail, no issues, and it gave me even better results when I added that 1/2 inch. So just remember, the proof is always in the stitching. If a design looks perfect on screen, especially when it's detailed, odds are it's not going to sew out well. You almost want to see distortion on screen in relation to how it's going to sew out, allowing for the push and pull compensation, the density, and all the stuff that goes into creating a design properly. You want to use that experience and put that into the design while you're digitizing it, and then see how it sews out, and it'll probably be much different than what you have on the screen. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this one and it helps you in your digitizing journey, and we'll see you next time. Remember, embroidery problems don't happen by accident. There's always a cause, and once you understand the cause, you can control the outcome. Now, if you enjoyed this Embroidery Medic video, please let me know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe. Until next time, keep your designs healthy and your stitches precise.